Your brand new iPhone deserves the best protection, and the iLune 3-pack screen protector plus 3-pack camera lens protector has you covered. Don't take risks with your iPhone. Click the link in the video description to shop now on Amazon.
Sergeant suffers career-ending injuries after being hit by a brick during Southport riots. A police sergeant suffered a career-ending injury when he was hit with a brick during the Southport riots. Liverpool Crown Court heard, on March 20, that hundreds of men and women gathered near to the Southport Islamic Society Mosque on Sussex Road on the evening of July 30 last year. It was the day after Axel Rudicubana had stabbed the 3 children to death at a Taylor Swift-themed dance class at the nearby Heart Space. Another 8 girls and 2 adults were also knifed during the teenagers' appalling attack. Mere hours after escorting 2 of the 3 murdered girls, 6-year-old Bebek King, 7-year-old Elsie Stankum, 9-year-old Alice de Silva Aguirre, to the morgue, SGT Philip Sinclair stood before a mob with his colleagues. Kevin Clark, among the mob, threw more than 20 objects towards police. One of these struck the officer in the head, sparking cheers and a torrent of abuse when he collapsed to the floor. Read more warning of copycat craze, as killers could be inspired by online violence. SGT Sinclair will never return to frontline duty as a result of the serious injuries he sustained. 8 months later, he still walks with the use of crutches, but told a court that the sick sounds of glee emanating from the crowd hurt him the most. Tom Challoner, prosecuting, described how Clark, of Brookdale Road in Hindley, was caught on camera launching dozens of missiles in the direction of police officers following the outbreak of violence. This included the masked 34-year-old aiming 1 brick towards SGT Sinclair, striking him in the head. Footage showed the officer deflecting 1 object with a shield before he was then hit by the second. Cheers were heard from the mob as he fell to the floor, with some members of the crowd being heard on a mobile phone recording shouting, "1 down," and P***Y. A fellow officer rushed to SGT Sinclair's aid, commandeering a police vehicle in order to take him to hospital. He had a wound to the head, glass in his arm, a dislocated finger, a suspected broken leg and ligament damage in his left ankle. SGT Sinclair told the court that he had been deemed no longer fit for frontline service. As a result, and despite having spent more than 4 months off sick following the incident, still requires further surgery. The 42-year-old said, "I would describe my physical well-being as not far off being broken. I take significant amounts of painkillers just to function, by which I mean to get out of bed. I always thought I would be a frontline officer throughout my career. At times, my wife has to dress me and undress me. The events have had a profound effect on me and my family. This is not the end, unfortunately. I'm in the middle of it really. The part that hurts me the most is the cheer that goes up in the video. I escorted those little girls to the morgue. To hear that crowd cheer is absolutely abhorrent. It has given me a very different look on people." Don't miss gap in law meant Southport killer could not be arrested before horror attack latest. Keir Starmer's silence could have prejudiced Southport murder trial outcome. Report: UK in the midst of lone wolf epidemic as kids getting radicalized in week's insight. We use your sign up to provide content in ways you've consented to and to improve our understanding of you. This may include adverts from us and third parties based on our understanding. You can unsubscribe at any time. Read our privacy policy. On that day, my daughter, who is 20, tracked my phone to Southport Hospital, having seen a live feed on social media and seen her dad hit in the head with a brick. It is quite harrowing, really. I'm quite a proud man to have to ask my son, who is 18 years of age, to help me out of the bath the other day. I should be helping them, not having to ask them for help. It's a very bitter pill to swallow. Julian Nutter, defending, said, "Clark apologizes to his victim. He is deeply ashamed of what he has done. He does not know what came over him. He has tried desperately over the years to improve himself and turn his back on engaging in crime. He had, before his recall to prison, managed to get himself employment. He has made determined efforts since he has been in custody to address his behavior issues. His intention is to never trouble the courts again with misbehavior and to put this behind him upon his eventual release. With the greatest respect to the officer, who has suffered in a massive way from the consequences of this crime. It could have been worse. Clark admitted unlawful wounding and violent disorder. He was jailed for 3.5 years and handed an additional 18-month extended license period. He will be required to serve 2/3 of the custodial term behind bars before becoming eligible for release. Sentencing, Judge Stuart Driver Casey said, "You were a fully enthusiastic member of the mob. You can be seen right at the front of it, throwing more than 20 items at the police, most of them house bricks, and doing so for a prolonged period." SGT Sinclair had nothing on his head and bravely positioned himself in a vulnerable place on the front line. You aimed a brick at him. It hit his head, and he went to the ground. Others could be heard shouting, "Yes, one down." When you saw that which you did, you continued to throw more bricks. The harm to the officer's head was, fortunately, less serious than it may have been. Catastrophic head injuries may have been caused, but it has had a very serious impact on his life. With dignity, he has described it in moving evidence today. You have 7 previous convictions for assaults, including serving several short prison sentences. You also have convictions for public order offenses, possessing a knife, harassment, and breaching restraining orders. There is a pattern of violence in your behavior, lasting over a number of years.